If the growing, rising crowd of savvier, sexier competitors wasn't god-awful enough, we, the self-employed, have a new four-letter word to contend with. AI. Yes, I know that's not four letters. So good they call you a fake. Don't care, because artificial intelligence, in its many forms, uses, and benefits, is profanity to the status quo. To consider machine superior to man is sacrilege, and yet it do be like that. You know the old saying that wine moms and beer dads hang up in the kitchen to feel hip and ironic? We offer three kinds of service: good, cheap, fast. Pick two. Bertha and Dan, the wine mom and beer dad, you've met your match. Artificial intelligence brings us all three. Yeah, the pundits and experts told us for years that computers can't do creative work. We artsy types thought our livelihoods were perfectly safe from the AI revolution. LMAO ad infinitum. You want a book cover mocked up? For low to no cost, AI can create the precise book cover you have in mind in seconds, all from a short text description, a prompt. And by precise, I mean precise. You want to write the first medieval Western novel and need a Knights Templar protagonist with a cowboy hat and chaps on the front cover? Coming right up, boss. The artwork is ready in seconds. Human artists, however, charge hundreds to thousands for one custom book cover and take days, if not weeks. AI is a genie, the bottle is yours, and you get unlimited wishes. Now, it's not just that visual art's under threat by the learning machines. Take AI content writing tools. Give any number of popular low-cost AI apps a few basic prompts, and the thing writes you a blog article, a marketing email, a sales page, or a whole-ass book in short order. Speaking of AI-written books, even I, the internet's favorite ghostwriter, have to look over my shoulder. I have to be so much better than a good, cheap, fast content generator any schmuck can use over a few days to write, edit, and publish the next great American novel. If AI hasn't swallowed ghostwriting yet, it will. Creatives down bad. So good they call you a fake. 2023. This book has been out for 3 years and a month now. I, of course, was right about everything. Ghostwriting, specifically ghostwriting nonfiction books from scratch, is dead. It is over. And I'm going to explain to you why it's over and why it's not necessarily a bad thing. Have you heard of Delphi.ai? It's a wrapper, basically, where you upload a bunch of your own content. Think books, think blog articles, think PDFs of notes that you've written, think transcripts of videos that you've done. Basically, your whole library of content. If you're an author, a creator, an influencer, a person, you upload all your stuff into Delphi. Less than $100 a month. It will then create your own unique chatbot that you can then sell access to. Why in the world? If you are Brendan Burchard, if you're Tony Robbins, if you're Elliot Hulse, if you're Dr. Mark Hyman, if you're look up the list of people who have Delphi AI, you might have seen Dr. Orion Taraban. He has a great channel called Psychax. I don't know if he's using Delphi specifically, but he's doing the same thing, like Orion.ai or something like that, where you pay your 10, 20, 50, $100 a month, depending on the person, and you get access to have a conversation with them. If you are that influencer, why would you pay tens of thousands or even $100,000 plus to hire a nonfiction book ghostwriter to create a new book that you then sell for $20? It just doesn't make any sense. And I want to illustrate this very simply to show you the situation here. This is like so. We're going to do books versus AI. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing. If you're in the self-help author space, the point of self-help is to help people help themselves. You want to reach more people. Got some funky lighting there. Okay, there we go. So think about this, okay? $20 for a book. Most experienced nonfiction book ghostwriters have previously, in the AI era, charged between $30,000 and $150,000 US for a manuscript. Okay, so we're gonna take the low end and say $50K. All right, so you have a $50,000 ghostwriter that would produce for you a product that you have to sell one at a time, $20 each, and it's one time. So it's like this. It's one by one by one. So $50,000 $20, and the royalties are going to be between $1 and $8, depending on your publishing situation. Okay, you have to sell a lot of these to break even. And then it's like, well, what about the intangible value of a book? That is what this used to be, but I see this in person. I do have this as required reading. I do make people read my book first. I do. Yes, and I advise all my clients too. But what is the value of being an author? You see the beautiful cover. Oh, that's a really cool cover. That's a great title. That's a great subtitle. You flip it over. It's got the logo. It's got the barcode. Oh, this is a real book. You just randomly flip it open. You know about systems, you know about jobs to be done, and you know for whom you're getting them done. What now remains is the all-important how, as in how many. Chapter 6, Lego, Bricks, and Lisec books. How to standardize the steps for creating miracles. Oh, that's pretty cool. And I never opened it again. The value of being an author is having a book. The value of being author for most business people, for most entrepreneurs, CEOs, instructors, directors, salespeople, account executives, serial entrepreneurs, freelancers, creatives, and influencers, whether you're in business, psychology, health, self-help, any of the industries, the value is in the book cover, the title and subtitle, the presentation, the professionalism, the layout. Like you can see that this is a real book. Somewhere in here are, actually like infographics and that kind of thing. Maybe I can flip open to it real quick. Yeah, here you go. Infographics and whatnot. Fewer than 17% of people actually read the books that they buy. Reading rates are collapsing across the United States. Your competition as an author is now TikTok, Twitter, X, it's Threads, it's Instagram. Substack is a lot of where people are monetizing. Mike Cernovich said this a couple of years ago. Why would he spend all this time and effort and money, let's say, doing another book when he can just run a Substack and people will pay him for shorter form content, I should say, and on a monthly subscription basis. So you can go to Substack, but we're not talking about Substack, we're talking about AI here. Okay. So contrast hiring a nonfiction book ghostwriter to produce a book for you, which is going to have that intangible value. You could be a bestseller, you could be all these things. But nowadays, if you're already a bestseller, if you have some other status accolade, you pay, let's say you pay $99 a month to a service like Delphi.ai, okay? And that produces your own AI chatbot based on all your material, your style, your voice, all your content. And let's say you charge $20 a month. Do you understand the scale here that I'm talking about? Do you understand how this is far superior if you're already an author than doing another book? The future is already here and it's in the math. And I'm not even mad that ghostwriting is over as a thing, because when you look at it, it just kind of makes sense. Now, I have New York Times bestsellers to my name. I've got this bad boy coming out. You see it right behind me. Stay off my kitchen table. Let's look at it real quick. It's coming out from Victory Belt Publishing. This is my story of being 10 years a vegan and coming out of it. AI does not have access to my story. And if you look at this, this is a fantastic presentation. And again, it's under my own name. So you'll notice I have a bunch of books coming out this year, last year, previous year. Going to have more coming out next year. There you go. 10 years of vegan. How I learned to stop sacrificing my health and love real food again. 6 years of vegan. Here are my notes from when I met with a physician, my co-author here, and what he told me were my problems. Why I was struggling as a vegan. The catastrophic consequences of vegan brain drain. This is the way. Get it? W-H-E-Y. Okay, so this is what I am doing. I am offering books under my own name. I'm leveraging my own personal brand. Is there a future where I'm doing this? Maybe. I don't know if people want to pay for that. I suppose we'll see. I haven't tried it yet. But I bring up all of this to explain the situation. See, well, what about using AI to write your book? Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Remember I just told you about the value of having a book. If you are in business for yourself, Having a book positions you as an expert, a person who is frankly awesome, who knows what you're talking about. So suppose you're generic CEO, and this is your generic CEO book. Oh, wow, the cover. Oh, that's beautiful. Let's suppose I get sent this, and I'm a prospect for you as a CEO of a company. You're functionally, you're the chief salesperson of the entire organization. You wheel and deal all the deals and wheels, I suppose, on wheels. You got your book, okay? You said you mail it out to prospects with a little handwritten note. It's featured on the website. You talk about it in podcast interviews, your amazing book and what's in it. I buy it. I get a copy of it somehow. I flip through it. Oh, wow, this is really good stuff. I read maybe 3 sentences of the entire book. All I'm focusing on is the cover, the feel of it. Oh, okay, wow. You have a lot of expertise. Look at all this expertise. Look at all that. You must know what you're talking about. I'm not reading all that, but I understand that I'm sure it's probably well written. Do you care if it was written 100% by a human? Would you pay hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands or even thousands of dollars for someone to do this? Oh, it's pretty good. Oh, okay. All right. Let's have that meeting. Do you understand what just happened? Yeah, but it's written by a human, so it's different. All value comes down to perception. All value is perception. If a tree falls in a forest and there's no one there to perceive the value of the lumber, that lumber has, in effect, no value until such a time as someone finds it or cares about it. That is where we find ourselves in this business of books. That is the current state of ghostwriting. It's not just in my world, but I'm seeing this across other ghostwriters. I'm seeing people quit and start mowing lawns for a living. I'm seeing people go work part-time at nonprofits. I'm seeing people just kind of go upmarket and focus on marketing strategy. I'm seeing other people focus on offering contract-based services to publishers because publishers are getting AI-generated, in part or whole, manuscripts from their authors, their famous authors, and they're saying to their editorial staff, just kind of proofread them and make sure all the sources are cited properly and just kind of make sure, and test out, to confirm, it doesn't read too much like AI so we don't get caught. So the value is not even in human written material anymore. It's a physical presentation, a physical product, a physical book. Amazon, of course, lets you sell it. And as long as you change it enough, this is not legal advice, as long as you change material enough, the AI and copyright guidance from copyright.gov is pretty clear that you can publish it and you can hold a copyright to it, even if it includes originally material that was AI generated. So where do we go from here? Well, a lot of authors, they're going to be, as they have been they're using AI to generate their manuscripts, whether it's independently published or it's traditionally published, and their proofreader, who's only getting paid probably hundreds of dollars, frankly, relative to tens of thousands, $100,000 plus for a human ghostwriter. It just doesn't make sense to do that anymore when the value of a book is not in that book being read. It's in the fact that it could be read but never is. It's an aspirational purchase. Oh, wow, you're Acme Consultant who helps Acme companies? Wow, you wrote the book on Acme Consulting. All right, let's have a meeting. We'll hire you to our Acme Consulting industry business, and then we'll pay you as an author. That still is very much real. But again, perception of value. There is a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar organization whose company has sponsored one of the largest sports stadiums in this particular state. Reached out to me last fall. Said, Josh, I need a book turned around real quick. I have this big conference coming up. It's going to be all men are VIPs from the administration, so on and so forth. Big, huge event, okay, last fall. I said, yes, here's my quote, here's my fee, here's all the things that I can help you do. Give him samples of my writing. He sees my books. He sees I've got 2 New York Times bestsellers. I've gross written more than 100 books by that point. And he says, yes, let's do it. And I never hear from him again. A few weeks later, he publishes a 100% AI written manuscript with an AI written cover copy, a book description, all the material on Amazon. In my opinion, it looks like most of the 5-star reviews are AI generated as well. But the guy went on a PR tour giving big interviews, major press, copies of his book seen pictured with the let's say VIPs, members of the administration, just incredible content for him. And it was $20 to use ChatGPT. There's a service. There's plenty of services that do writing verification of human versus AI, and it'll tell you the percentage, right? So I uploaded samples of his chapters from Amazon that are available for sale. Not 20% AI, not 50%, not 75%, 100% AI written. and nobody cares. $20 a month. Someone like that can even then go and create his own chatbot. All the interviews, all the talks, all the things that he's done as a CEO of his highfalutin corporation, one of the largest companies in his state. He can just simply go in and create his own bot for $90 a month and then sell it, access to it for $10 a month, $20 a month, $5 a month. Like Cernovich was saying, this is even before AI. Mike Cernovich was saying, you're an author who wants to write. It doesn't make sense for you to write an author of books. You need to write an author Substacks. So that's what you need to be focusing on. That's what you need to be doing as an author instead, because of the economics. And now with chatbots, we're seeing all of these big names in the self-help, personal development, health to wealth, that whole world are moving to tools like Delphi.ai instead of creating new books. And just think Orion Taraban, he's got the 2 books. He has the 100,000 copy bestseller, The Value of Others, fantastic book. And then he had the novel. But he's also got this monumental, let's say, library of YouTube videos, that many of which have millions of views upon millions of views. So his next content then is a chatbot that you can interact with and ask questions of, which just makes more sense. Spending the tens of thousands hiring a ghostwriter, or months to years of your life writing a new book to sell at $20 a copy, one-time sale, or paying this service $100 a month to get something you can infinitely sell at an infinite scale. Like I said, I'm not even mad. I predicted where this was going to be going. And as you know, I have had books coming out the wazoo with my name on them. Unhumans, a New York Times bestseller. I authored this with Jack Posobiec. It was endorsed by J.D. Vance, New York Times bestseller. Tens of thousands of copies sold. It completely reframed the presidential election 2024 as a war between Americanism and communism, which of course it obviously was. Then I wrote The Right-Wing Organizer's Handbook, Run Right, with a guy who's got more than 500 electoral victories, Cliff Maloney. The foreword is by Turning Point Tyler Bauer, the Chief Operations Officer. This book did not exist. I wanted to write this for 7 years to help the right win. So that's a Joshua Lisec project to put me out in that space. And then, of course, I authored with Jack Posobiec again, Bulletproof, the first and only book that is a private investigation into the attempted assassination of Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump himself endorsed this book, had it on camera, just incredible content. That's what I have been doing the last few years, authoring these books under my own name. And I think there's just little reward to being an anonymous ghostwriter anymore. So I have had 2 books come out this year already. We've got Stay Off My Kitchen Table, right? A follow-up to Stay Off My Operating Table by Dr. Philip Ovadia, but it's also my story learning about bioavailability, nutrient absorption, anti-nutrients, what makes a food healthy versus unhealthy. What about the form it's cooked in? Raw, baked, fried, oiled, refrigerated, frozen, and then cooked. What about this kind of diet that's really popular at the White House under RFK Jr., where it's basically red meat, eggs, bone broth, and fermented vegetables? What does fermentation do? Well, what about yogurts? So on and so forth, right? What different fruits? It's not just what you eat, it's what your body absorbs. So again, perception of value comes into this as it does with every industry. You want to know a little secret? The Unhumans cover, one of the most striking covers ever created of any book ever. You can still get this in stores today. It's been out for 2 years now, basically. You know who did the mock-up? ChatGPT. And that was in 2023, by the way, when it was really, really bad. Of course, the first version of it was so bad that it's like, oh, we can't go with this. But if you see the earliest promotions of Unhumans, the book by Joshua Lisec and Jack Posobiec, guess what you're going to see? You're going to see the AI-generated book cover from ChatGPT. And then, of course, a human redid it and made it more so, more humanized, let's say. You're going to see Burn It Down by Joshua Lisec and Rich Baris coming out this year. Then you're going to see Haitians of Springfield by just me as a sole author, and my investigative journalist effort. What really happened when tens of thousands of Haitians moved into the city next door to me? I live in Dayton, Ohio. Springfield is just a short drive away. What really happened when the media realized they could try to use that story to sink Trump's candidacy? And how did that go? What really happened? What if the cats and dogs were the least of everyone's concerns? And then on October 13th, Jenica Pounds, who's known by the name Data Republican on X, we've got a book called Unelected coming out. So I'm doing okay relative to alternatives, but the future is already here and it's not paying ghostwriters.